I was planning on going surfing today, but the wind and the rain blew that idea out. Yesterday would have been the day to go. I went out Tuesday. It was
I was planning on going driving my scooter today, but
that's not a good idea in this kind of weather.
no, but I did use it going down to Sunnyvale on Tuesday.
Really?
And it was a good thing I did because I took 101. And motorcycle. I'm not listening to I'm listening to music or whatever. I'm not hearing the news or anything.
Oh, you're hearing it in your headphones there.
Yeah. And then right when it gets to Daly City, it's like all the lanes were closed.
Yeah. Really?
Okay. Yeah. So actually, we're the traffic got backed up. Is how you go 101, you go Van Ness,
right,
and then you go back on the freeway to do that.
Yeah.
To go to the airport,
Central
right?
Freeway. Yeah.
It was backed up as soon as I hit that, and I'm thinking, what's going on? I go, there must be an accident or something.
Yeah.
But with the motorcycle, the brrrr,
yeah, you can get through that.
Yeah, and then I look up, I go, they closed all the lanes.
Wow.
There was some truck or something completely spilled something over it, like fell over.
I'm telling you, the traffic around here it's the economy's doing so well. A lot of people are working, and now we're having this special problem with backups through Marin over to the Richmond Bridge.
Yes.
Because what's happening is people from the city or from the East Bay don't want to have to maneuver through the city streets and go on the Bay Bridge and get on, I-80 East. So what they do is they shoot over to the north side of town, go over the Golden Gate Bridge, and then they back up the traffic at Larkspur. And that gets that gets funneled in, and then the people from San Rafael, they're coming in, and it's like from the interchange where it starts here on the overpass, all the way to the bridge is locked up. It's a 15-minute. You're sitting for 15 minutes. At least. And then whenever I go to the Warriors, there's three spots. There's the Golden Gate Field to the Bay Bridge. That's always a mess. And then once you get right to Oakland on 880 South, that's a mess. Yeah. I have my little ways of getting around it, but it's just.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I have my ways of getting around it, but I have to give myself minimum an hour and a half to get to Oakland.
Yeah.
For a Warriors game.
Well,
I love going to Warriors, but I just hate that drive.
So bad.
Coming home takes me 45 minutes.
Yeah.
45 minutes I'm home, but going there is an hour and a half minimum.
Yeah, it was crazy. I literally would have been in traffic for over 2.5, 3 hours, but because of the cycle, I was able to.
Yeah, there's no way to live. Yeah, life is too. As we get older too, it gets.
Yeah.
You know what I do though? I just mellow out. I put music on and just chill out. I don't. It's funny. A lot of people get upset and uptight when they're in the car. I do just the opposite. It's almost like I'm in this little kind of quiet zone.
That's good.
Always. I never get upset. Rarely. Well, shouldn't say never, but rarely.
Rarely. Okay.
Rarely
is good enough.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can.
God, I wanted to get out and do some exercise today.
I know. I couldn't do any exercise.
Oh,
yesterday I decided because the weather. I took the motorcycle. It was starting to rain a little bit, and I go, but I was kind of getting cold.
Yeah.
I go, you know what? I'm just going to ride the bike at home, watch the Warrior game while I'm riding.
Yeah, that's fun.
Great.
What a great game. Yeah, that third quarter was just Curry just took over. Took over.
It's funny because had he continued to play, he
would
would have
have
beaten
scored
that 36. He in that quarter. He
had 28 points in the quarter. Yeah. It was amazing that last shot he takes. He just throws up. He takes a 28-foot shot with 2 seconds to go, and it's going in. That's the surreal thing about the Warriors right now. They're going to win. Somebody's going to do something great, and it's almost like you expect it, but it still blows your mind.
It's funny. I still watching this stuff, and I really appreciate the talent. But then there's certain things that
nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. You can't have a perfect. One thing they do is they do pass the ball around a lot. You pass the ball around a lot, you're going to turn the ball over. They do, but they make up for it by getting the other team to make mistakes, and then they get the ball back. So
they were very good at that. That's why Hornets only shot like less
32.
than 30%.
Yeah, they do. If you watch their defense, they overplay people. They pressure the ball. And they can do that because they have the depth. So that their guys don't get worn down. That's the beauty of the team.
That's the big key.
They have 10, 11 guys that contribute, and that's what you want.
When you have like Igor Hala on the second team, it's like holy smokes.
And he's perfect for that role. He just leads that guy, that group by example.
Anyone who can guard LeBron.
Yeah. So we should talk to Hal a little bit about that and the NFL, and if he wants to talk some college. I know he does a show with the Cal Bears, but Cal's like,
I know, it's
same old Cal.
Yeah.
And now they're about to lose their coach, and they're about to lose their quarterback. It's always like they make a few strides forward, and they're falling.
Jared,
he's gonna leave. If Dykes leaves, he'll definitely be gone.
Wow.
Yeah. I think if he was smart, he would stay. But then at the same time, you get injured in any sport. I mean, there's always that possibility, but especially in football, you have to strike while you got the chance.
Where we go?
Well, he'll be eligible for the draft.
He's not good enough for that.
Oh no, he'll be a top 5 pick. No question. Oh, no question. His numbers are great.
Yeah, I guess maybe the last few games just kind of. Well, the last game he was very good, but
no, he's got. You put him in the right spot. I don't think he's going to be like Andrew Luck, but then who is? Andrew Luck was a special talent. Yeah. And Kevin Hogan is an interesting guy. I don't know how good he's going to be, but boy,
is Goff a junior this year?
Goff is a junior,
okay,
and
so
Kevin Hogan is actually a graduate student. He's graduated, but if you don't play your freshman year, you're eligible for a 4th year. So that's why he's playing.
Yeah. So is that the red shirt?
Yeah. A lot of guys do that. They just figure I'm not going to get much of a chance when I use up my eligibility. I shouldn't say a lot of guys do that, but some they string out their 4 years of eligibility and then they get their degree when they're 23.
Yeah.
But he was, I mean, it's like Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was going to leave Stanford. I mean, a Stanford degree is like worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. That's
I mean, it's worth a lot more.
We get nervous. These guys what if they get hurt?
Well, that's a problem with football. That's a roll of the dice. Andrew Luck has been hurt a lot.
Yeah.
This last year, he's got beat up.
But in college, he didn't get.
No, well, because he had a great offensive line. He doesn't have it, and that's the problem. That Colts did not give him good support. That's a huge mistake. You got to give. He's going to be. It's like Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett just got murdered his first 5-6 years.
Well,
then you put him on then you put him on a good team, and look what happens.
Yeah.
No,
that's.
Put him on a good team, and his numbers don't add up. I mean, if you look at his numbers, he and Joe Namath both did not. Actually threw more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah.
But they won big games.
Yeah. I know that's the thing. It's like it's kind of funny. It's Broadway Joe and all that kind of stuff, and he can predict.
That was a huge.
The thing is, one of the reasons they won that Super Bowl is when they had 5 turnovers, or Colts had 5
turnovers. The defense was phenomenal. I mean, they shut the Colts out until the 4th quarter. That was the Colts were a juggernaut that year. They were beating teams like 35-7 in the old NFL, and nobody thought they could be beaten.
Yeah.
It was interesting because Johnny Unitas had to come into that game in relief of Earl Morrall because Morrall was so inconsistent, and Johnny U rallied him for a score, and then they recovered an onside kick, but then they couldn't move. Yeah. Then 2 years later, they're back in the Super Bowl. Johnny U is playing, but this time he suffers a broken rib and a punctured lung, and Earl Morrall comes in and he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big Colts fan. Mike Curtis.
I like the Colts. Mike Curtis. Get off of my turf. Get off of my turf. Well, there's a famous, I guess, some stupid drunken fan ran onto the field to try to steal the ball from us, and Curtis just blindsided him, hit him as well as gave him a shot as well as you could, and the guy was laid out. And then from that point on, somebody asked him, why did you do that? He goes, don't step onto my turf. You're not part of the game, And so that became this kind of creed. Keep off of my turf. The crazy line.
Now, if that happened, he'd get sued, and there'd be all kinds of.
I don't know about that. That's a good call. The other day, some fan went on the field, and a player grabbed him by the neck and threw him off. You go on the playing field, you take your own chances.
Yeah. Everybody knows you're not supposed to.
Hey, speaking of, I hate to change the subject, but this whole mass killing thing. Now they think these 2 people they believe they might have been Muslim terrorists.
It's
husband and wife.
Well, he's American, but he goes to Saudi Arabia to get a wife.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if he's a disgruntled employee, but that's not a random type of hey, I'm upset with you, and I'm go get a gun and kill you. Yeah. I mean, they plan all this stuff for
I know.
Who knows how long.
It's weird though, but it's never been women. Well, I shouldn't say that. Women are now. And they left a little kid behind.
I know. That is
insanity. There's just too much insanity in the world.
Yeah.
People need to take a deep breath. Watch some sports.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we're almost at time, so let's do our 2 minutes.
Yeah. And you got Hal's number, right?
I've got him both. So
he wants to do this only because he's got a nice little setup there. The quality will be okay.
On his cell phone?
On his cell phone. He'll be all right.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be doing it from his house. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll do our thing here. Well, welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime radio sports personality. Today's show is going to be really special because I think we're going to have two guests, aren't we?
Yeah, we got a longtime radio voice, Hal Ramey from CBS Radio locally here in the Northern California area, and then a team that doesn't get a lot of recognition nationally, but it's one of the best teams in college football. Edward, and I'm talking about the Stanford Cardinal, and longtime beat reporter Tom Fitzgerald, who works locally for one of the top newspapers in the region, is going to talk a little bit about that team.
Okay. I remember a couple of years ago you were talking about the Oakland A's. It's like the best team nobody knows.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like what Stanford's kind of?
Stanford is kind of like that. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, Edward, that so many of the alums are scattered all over. So there's not a huge number in any one place. So they have a following, but it's kind of scattered, and it's not a big school. That's only, I think, 7,000 undergrads.
So it's not like Ohio State.
No, or Michigan, or, you know, any of these other big schools, Alabama, or USC, Notre Dame, whatever, yeah.
Interesting, okay. What bowl do you think that they're going to go to?
Well, they'll probably go to the Rose Bowl. You know, there is the outside chance that they could be one of the bowl-eligible teams for the national championship. It's unlikely since they're I believe they're number 7, and they've lost a game. But going to the Rose Bowl is, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And they've been to the Rose Bowl a few times, and they're a fun team to watch. You know, we're getting into the specifics of some of the people to kind of keep an eye on, but they are definitely, and the sad thing is a lot of our listeners who are in the East Coast and Midwest regions don't get a chance to see them because a lot of their games start on the West Coast at 7:30. You're in bed by the time they're kicking off in the second half.
I think that's one of the problems about being in the mid or the East Coast.
Yeah, we're spoiled out here. We get to see all the games. We don't have to get up at or stay up till 10:30 to watch a game.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was a kid, the Rose Bowl that was the grand day.
It was.
Now you got the BCS championship.
Well, in the old days, you had the 4 big bowls and you had 5 or 6 others. Now there, how many? Almost 70 teams are involved. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a trivia question, and we're going to give away a vacation. And the theme is football challenge. All right. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, and we're going to be right back.
Okay. I think we're looking good.
Yep.
More meetings.
Oh, for the house?
No, just school. It's crazy.
School.
Yeah.
How's Molly doing?
She's doing great.
Good. Every once in a while, I'll turn on KCBS, and so I know Hal's voice.
Oh yeah.
He does a good job.
Yeah, he's pretty much retired from it now. He just does part time.
Yeah.
Kind of like me. Not by choice, but that's hey, he's had a good run.
Oh yeah,
he's not hurting. He was there for 28 years at KCBS.
Wow.
Yeah. I know because I tried for that job. And I didn't have the inside track. I actually auditioned for it. I had 2 nights on the air, and I got really good reviews. But he was good buddies with the station manager, which really helps. You got to have connections. It's part of the deal.
Okay, so we're gonna call Hal on his cell phone.
Yeah, let's try the cell. That probably works better.
All right.
He's got a little set up there. Interesting long ring.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Hal.
Yes.
Hi, it's Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan.
Now, what's happening?
How you doing?
Good, good.
Yeah, are you all set for us?
I think so.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is welcome us back, and then I'll have Bruce introduce you.
We got how many? 3 segments altogether. So 2 with him and maybe 1 with Tom. Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
There we go. Okay.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Bruce, who do we have on the phone?
Well, we got a long-time local talent, fellow that worked at CBS Radio for almost 3 decades and has been in sports broadcasting for actually longer than I've been. Hal Ramey, a good friend of ours, joined us. Hal, good to have you with us. What's going on, man?
Hey, Bruce, just dodging raindrops here. How you doing?
Not too bad. Yeah, we're finally getting some wet weather. Well, let's talk a little bit about the sport of the day, which of course is the NFL. Nationally, there's so much interest, and you know it's fascinating this year because the teams that might make it to the Super Bowl are not exactly household names. I mean, clubs like Carolina and maybe Cincinnati. This is kind of a strange year in the NFL, hasn't it been?
Bruce, you know I predicted that the Panthers might go undefeated, didn't you?
Right.
Anybody that says that is kind of reaching, I believe. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy out there. The Bengals and the Panthers, and who knew?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun though, and the thing I love about the NFL is that on the old saying, in any given Sunday you can see some crazy things. The guy that really has stepped forward though in my mind, and he was on Sports Illustrated's front page the other day, is Cam Newton. And a couple of years ago, this guy was almost an afterthought. Now he may be one of the best quarterbacks in football. What's the deal with this guy anyway?
Well, I think you're right, Bruce. A lot of people are ready to kind of run him out. He had some faults that young quarterbacks have, and maybe was a little immature in some of the things he did. But he grew up, and he's just such a physical specimen that he's a problem for anybody. And I haven't seen that much of the Panthers, I'll be honest, but the stats I see and what I read, boy, this guy is really in the conversation now for being right at the top of his profession.
I did. It's funny because I watched him come out of college, and when he got to the pros, I mean, you could see the potential. I mean, he's just a big, strong guy, and yeah, he had some of the like you said, the rookie mistakes. I wonder how much of that belongs to the front line.
Well, that's always the big issue, isn't it, Edward? And again, I'm just following the Panthers not all that closely until recent weeks. Well, the last couple of years. I mean, Jack Del Rio, the connection there with Coach, you realize that they've kind of been coming for 2 or 3 years, got into the playoffs, and Rivera's done a good job there. But Newton, this year especially, has just taken off. I guess he actually played very well down the stretch last season, but the growth there has been pretty remarkable in the last year and a half.
Does anyone know what year in his contract he is?
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure of that. I'm not a big contract guy.
Okay. I'm wondering how much, sometimes, psychologically, if guys ready to renew his contract, kind of steps it up in the game.
That seems to be a great motivator.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You mentioned Ron Rivera. Yeah, you mentioned Ron Rivera, the head coach, and there is a little bit of an interchange between him and Jack Del Rio, who's the Raider coach, because they both were linebackers. They both played in the Pac. In those days, it was the Pac-10. Ron at Cal, Jack Del Rio, I think, about the same time at USC. And boy, these I always think of the guys that seem to be the most successful coaches. Sometimes are the guys that weren't the great players or the great stars. They were solid guys who had to just study really hard, and their passion, you could almost sense it on the sidelines when they were playing.
Yeah, that's very true. There aren't that many real big names that have succeeded when you stop and think about it. Of course, if you're at the top of the game, and it's more so the case now with the amount of money they can make, why would you want to do that? I like football coaches, the ones I've gotten to know well and the ones I've only known casually. They seem like good guys. And, the hours they work, it's just crazy. This idea of sleeping on a cot in your office 2 or 3 nights a week during the season, and they think nothing of 18 to 20-hour days.
You remember who started that? I was going to say.
Especially that guys make big money. Yeah, what a crime.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, no, I was going to say the guy who really sort of started doing that was Dick Vermeil back in the late 70s, early 80s, and he used to. I don't know if he was bragging about it, but I think it led to coaching burnout. He came back and got a team in the Super Bowl, which was an emotional moment for him.
But the reason is because he was with the Eagles.
Well,
you have to work 28 hours a day if you're at the Eagles.
Did they lose the Plunkett, the Raiders?
They did. I remember the thing that people love to grab a hold of at that Super Bowl was that the Raiders were a wild card, and Tom Flores was in his second year, and he told his players, just have fun, relax, enjoy. You know, you're going to be in New Orleans. We don't want you to go in and stay out till 4 in the morning. John Matuzak, you know, the great defensive lineman, always laughed about, I'm going to patrol, you know, Bourbon Street, make sure the guys aren't out late. And it turns out John was out there very late himself. But Vermeil said, if those guys tried to do that, I'd send them on a plane back to Philadelphia. And they were so uptight, I think that might have made a difference.
Yeah, I think you're right. That was kind of a one-sided Raider game, as I recall. But,
it was.
You always wonder about the approach like that. And, of course, those old Raiders, Bruce, as you know so well, they were a fun bunch. And I'm always reminded, remember Dick Barnett, the old guard, back with the early Jerry West era, the Lakers, and Elgin Baylor. I think Fred Schaus was the coach, and he announced there's going to be a bed check. And Barnett said, you check that bed, coach. It'll be right there. I only go so far with some of the guys.
How about Cincinnati, now? That's another team that kind of, with Andy Dalton, who has not exactly had, you know, tremendous numbers throughout his career, and they've not won a playoff game, I believe, in Marvin Lewis's entire, during his long tenure there, but they are perched on the edge of a great season if they can get through that first round. That's a tough thing for them, though, because they've got that onus of failing in the first round hanging over them.
Yeah, that history, and especially over Andy Dalton, in spite of some, pretty good statistical seasons, his playoff record, as you suggest, is perfectly awful. And I imagine that weighs on your mind after a time. It's been several games won and out, and a couple of times when they were favored. I think it was at Houston last year. It was that year before. Everybody was expecting the Bengals to at least get by the first game, and it just hasn't happened. And then Dalton, frankly, has really struggled, and people are quick to remind him of it, aren't they?
And I always remember that game a few years back when Carson Palmer was still there. He throws a long touchdown on one of the early plays of the game. It breaks his leg, and everything goes south after that. And that just seems to typify what has happened with that franchise. They can't catch a break.
Maybe they should.
I always remember the previous York regime with Dr. John running. He always said he wanted to model his team after Mike Brown and the Cincinnati Bengals. If that didn't send up red flags, it should.
Maybe Ryan Leaf is available.
Hey, of course, Hal Ramey from CBS Radio here in Northern California talking about Dr. John York, who owned the 49ers before his nephew took over. And man, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about the Niners present day and past, because Hal's had a long association with the 49ers, and we are talking with Hal Ramey from CBS Radio. And Hal, you've also covered a lot of college football over the years. Do you have a preference? Do you enjoy the college game a little more?
Absolutely love the college game. I mean, there are people who will tell you, I don't know about this year, but that Alabama team this year, or that Auburn team next, or USC or whatever, they could probably finish somewhere in the NFL. They've got 12 or 13 guys that are NFL players right now. I said, yeah, but the worst team in the league, Jacksonville or whoever, they've got 53.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, college is
suggest it's better. The quality of players is better in college, but I just like the game. I think it's so much more wide open, so much more exciting, and the mistakes are part of it. And quite frankly, the investment in players, especially in quarterbacks, they keep under wraps. You just don't see the chances taken.
Yeah, I wonder how many.
At Super Bowls, there was talk of playing not to lose, and the NFL strikes me as that way quite often. Although in the current era, not so much.
Hey, Hal, stay
with
us. We got to cut to a commercial break here. All right, so here's our first question, football challenge.
And Hal can answer this, but not until after the break.
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
How many teams have played in at least 4 Super Bowls?
Ooh, good question.
All right. The first email with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email edward@sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. And one of the others, I was thinking about college football. It's like, how many times do you see an 80-yard run compared to in the NFL? Yeah. All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be right back. All right, so that's one of our segments. Let me just save the file here, and we'll come back.
have to do a little thinking about
You
those.
definitely do.
Those teams. I can think of about. Let's see here. 4 Super Bowls each, huh?
4 Super Bowls.
Okay.
So Hal, at every commercial break, I like to ask a trivia question, and we try to give Bruce ones that are somewhat hard, but not that makes him blow his mind.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to think about this. I can think of 2 local teams. And we got the LA Raiders as part of the Raiders.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making a list here.
Good.
Yeah.
Checking it twice.
Checking it twice.
I'm still scratching my head.
So four times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super Bowl 4 times.
Gotcha.
Oh boy.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
give it a shot.
Let's give this a shot here. All right. And away we go. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. And when we cut to the commercial break, we asked a difficult question here, one that takes a little bit of thought. How many teams in the NFL have played in at least 4 Super Bowls?
Well, I'm putting together a list, and I know Hal is also. I got 10. Hal, how many do you have so far?
I've got 8. Bruce, you're beating me here.
Okay.
So Bruce, which
Make
10?
it hard.
Which 10 do you have?
Okay, I got Pittsburgh, of course.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
The Patriots. The Raiders.
Hold on. Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah.
Raiders. 49ers.
49ers, yep.
Minnesota, which of course lost all 4.
Yep.
Buffalo, which lost all 4.
Yep.
Dallas.
Dallas, yep.
Miami.
Miami.
Washington. Green Bay.
Green Bay.
And there's
Green Bay,
got.
And who's the last one?
There's
Come
one more.
on, baby.
One more. There's got
Come
to
on,
be.
you got to know it. Think of Stanford and think of
Oh, Denver.
Denver.
Denver, of
There you
course.
go.
How could I
Roosevelt
overlook?
Way, yeah.
How could I overlook
Very
Denver?
good. That's
Folks in
pretty
the right.
good, though.
Yeah,
You only had like a minute to think about that. You got a 10 out of 11.
Not too bad. Not too
All
bad.
right, so who's on the phone?
Yeah,
with
so we
us?
got Hal Ramey from CBS Radio here in Northern California. And Hal has a long association with the 49ers. He was believe it or not, Hal was the PA announcer for I think it was almost 20 years, Hal. You did PA.
Exactly, Bruce.
Wow.
20 years from I believe it was the mid-1980s until just a few years ago. So you got to see, not only you got to cover, but you got to see some great teams. What kind of stories and memories do you have of those years at Candlestick? Because there's so many, I would think it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but just maybe a couple that pop into mind.
First thing, Bruce, I moved to Oregon in 1984. Of course, the Niners had already won their first Super Bowl then, but Jerry Rice had just joined the team, and I got my first look at him after I got back in person. And, you know, you're somewhat objective covering the game, even as a PA announcer, but I just remember several times Montana and Rice, just my mouth falling open. It was just, they were so good. Of course, Joe was so accurate. And those old stories that are told about the ball never hitting the ground in practice, this was the days when we could watch the whole practice. And I was there for some of them. The ball never touched the ground. The receivers are great, and Joe was so accurate. But just getting my first look at Rice and those teams, it was just astonishing after being away from the pro game, in person for 3 years in Oregon.
And one thing about Montana, too, is you watched him. He was not physically imposing. He didn't have any particularly great skills in one area, but he just knew how to win games. He was, they say, Joe Cool.
Well, he's the most accurate quarterback I ever saw, and nothing I can determine, on a personal basis, but just looking and talking to coaches, I think Joe saw the game and saw the field.
That's what I was
Saw
going to
what was happening defensively better than any quarterback ever had.
say. Yeah, that's what I heard. Was
No motion for him.
yeah, his big talent was to be able to look at the whole field and see, okay, receiver 1's covered, receiver 2's covered, and get to receiver 3. Yeah.
How about Bill Walsh? Did you?
Guys right in stride, he was just.
Oh, yeah.
Well, didn't just hit him right in the hands.
Right in the hands, right in the numbers.
Just incredible. Then Steve Young, much bigger arm and a greater completion percentage as the game evolved. But boy, talk about a 1-2 punch.
Oh yeah.
Well, and
back to back, just phenomenal.
And bringing those guys together, and of course, Steve played when George Seifert took over, but Steve was there, and Bill Walsh brought him in. I mean, Bill Walsh was a fascinating guy, kind of hard to get to know. I got to know him rather later on, pretty closely when he was at Stanford. But I imagine your paths crossed a few times. What was he like?
Yeah, Bill was always, pretty pleasant to me. He could, Bill had a side when he get his back up about something, he could be pretty ornery, and he'd call guys out at press conferences. But, football coaches are not the greatest truth givers in the world.
That's for sure.
They're kind of a paranoid bunch sometimes. I always found Bill pretty good to deal with. And, for the players, he didn't want to be your friend. He liked keeping guys on edge, and of course, the famous policy of getting rid of a guy a year too soon rather than a year too late to try to get most of the trade value. He might have been better as a personnel guy than as a coach. That's saying an awful lot. But you know what I think? Obviously, you got this West Coast offense and the coaching tree from his ranks is absolutely phenomenal. But as I watch games today, what strikes me the most is remember Bill would script those first 15, 20, 25 plays, and they almost always seem to score right at the start. I've not seen any coach come close to doing that.
Amazing. You're talking about the players, trading them away early rather than late. Immediately I was thinking about Peyton Manning. I mean, how many years left does this guy have?
Well, right now, that was a plantar fascia injury. That's a serious one for a professional athlete, much less when got to get you out of harm's way and allow you to deliver the ball properly. I wonder if this might be it. I mean, he had the neck injuries before, the surgeries, and you can talk about Joe Montana kind of looking like the guy in the street. Peyton's not that much bigger. I kind of worry about him sometimes, and I wouldn't be surprised if this might be it.
And what about Brady? I mean, how old is he now?
You're talking about playing till he's 50.
Yeah. I think he's just
a guy. And
yeah.
I can't think of any quarterback this late in his career that is consistently just, I don't know if he's getting better, but he's maintaining an awfully high bar. I'm not the biggest Brady fan, but he's just absolutely phenomenal.
Well, again, you got to.
From the Randy Moss time, and I don't know a little bit, but he's not got the best receiving crew going. That's for sure now.
No, but again, you look at that front line. How many sacks does he suffer?
That's part of the that's the reason, I guess.
He's not a great runner.
No, it all starts there. Hey, well, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll go ahead.
Because their running game isn't that much right now. He's had a couple of good backs at times there, but not recently. And it's just and it's the Belichick system, but he's just fabulous and shows no signs of slowing down. So he probably can go for a while, I would think.
He's got that Energizer rabbit bunny
also, he's
battery.
He's like a franchise player. It's like, how do you trade that guy, even if you think you can get top dollar for him? I mean, that's tough.
No, you're not going to trade Brady. No, I mean we both remember. Hal and I remember, and you do too, I'm sure, when the 49ers traded Joe Montana. It was front page news, and a lot of people were really upset about that. And Joe had a couple of good years in Kansas City, got his team into the conference finals, so it worked out well. But I want to talk briefly though before we let you go, Hal, about the hottest player on the planet right now in all of sports is Steph Curry. I mean, we were watching the game the other night in Charlotte. He's back there in his hometown, and he just goes into this unconscious zone where he hits 28 points in the third quarter, 24 shots in a row. It's almost when you're watching this guy that you expect him to do the impossible, and then he does it. I mean, have you seen anything like this in any sport?
He's just absolutely phenomenal. People are, he's still young in his career, and people who've been around the league for a long time are talking like he's the greatest shooter ever. And, it's pretty hard to argue right now. He gets on these streaks, and a lot of great shooters were streaky, but he is just unbelievable. I've forgotten who said it. Was one of the sages, one of the veteran coaches or GMs, said that he, and for that matter, the Warriors right now are playing with a level of confidence he's not sure he's seen. And that's apparent. I mean, they just, there've been a handful of games where it's been kind of close.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it looked like they might be in trouble, but. They put in that small team, and then they come back with the big guys. They just have this confidence, and I don't think a lot of people realize, even with professional athletes and great professional athletes, confidence can be a fragile thing.
Well, 20 in a row.
The hitter like getting a hit from previous at bat, or something like a shooter for knocking down your previous shot. But they can go cold, have a bad quarter or even a half, and it doesn't seem to phase them in the slightest. I think that level of confidence, the same and Seth, and why not the way it's going, we've never seen anything quite like that.
It's interesting you mentioned Curry, and we talked earlier about Montana and the similarity between those two in terms of being able to do great things. I noticed also just hanging around in the locker room after the games are over and talking to these guys, they both have an almost serene quality, like they're floating above the clouds, and they get into the zone, as they say, during the game, and then after the game, well, the rest of us are sort of looking for answers. They are just in a different world. I think almost that's part of the reason why these great ones, are able to attain magic moments. I don't know.
The game slows down for them.
It does.
Yeah, but they're just at a whole other level, and you can't really put yourself in their shoes. The thing about Curry that's amazing, obviously he's a gifted passer, and he's cleaned up his occasional tendency to go to careless pass an awful lot in the last couple of years. But Steph, talk about we're talking about just normal size. Steph's the guy off the street. He's not a giant, not even he's a small guard in the NBA. How does he get all the rebounds he gets?
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Especially that one here, that last one.
Good point. I mean,
he's just a basketball genius. Well, I mean, granted, obviously, Dad probably had the genes and could teach him pretty well, and Mom was athletic too. But how does that guy get all the rebounds he gets? He's amazing at everything he does.
He always finds a little open space, and he just seems to fit in there. It's almost like he knows where the ball is going to be, and got a sixth sense for that. You're right, though. I mean, he's not an imposing physical specimen. You stand up next to the guy, and he looks like, you could be playing a pickup ball with this guy somewhere in the backyard.
So
you tower over him, Bruce.
Yeah, that's right. I'm 6'5". Actually, I was at the game the other night talking to him, and I always thought he was a little smaller than he is, but that's because he's standing up next to guys in the NBA who are average 6'7", 6'8". He's about 6'3", but he weighs about $180. He's not an imposing specimen, not at all.
Hey, Hal, we got to get to our our second commercial break here, and we're going to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101.
Well, enjoy, guys. Have a fan of the program.
Great, thank you.
Good seeing you, Hal, or talking with you. Good guy. I've known Hal a long time, and he's been a stalwart here in the Bay Area. I'll say that much, yeah.
Okay, speaking of the Bay Area, here's our second question. How many Super Bowl rings does Steve Young have?
Good question.
All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be right back. All right. That was good.
How many rings does he have? Well, he's got to have 3, I think. Unless he had one with didn't play with anybody else. Play with Tampa.
Yeah, they didn't do it at the time.
Maybe 3. So you got Tom's number.
Yeah.
Oh, man, oh, man. Yeah, my wife gets to bed so early, and I unfortunately fell asleep at 9 o'clock last night, so at about 2 this morning I woke up and I had to go get a bowl of cereal. I woke her up. It's like, oh.
It's so funny. I don't have cereal much at night, but last night I was hungry.
Yeah.
But mine was more like at midnight.
Oh, yeah. I was about a little too old for that. But 9 o'clock, I got it. Tonight I'm not going to do that. My wife and daughter both go down about 9. I just cannot do that.
I can't do it either.
Yeah.
It's
too early.
Yeah. Eva's the same way. She usually goes to bed early.
Yeah.
I go, come on, that.
I
don't mind that because then I can get work done and I don't have to feed the emotional trough.
Yeah.
But I guess I can't. Okay, so we should try to get a hold of
Tom. Yeah, you've got his number. Don't
Yeah.
you? If you need it, let me.
No, I've got it. Does he? Is it home number is okay for him?
Yeah, I believe it's his home phone. Yeah, pretty sure it is.
Oh, that's right.
He should be there by now. It's almost 3 o'clock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be there. We got a cell number for him also in case.
I get that too.
Yeah, and if he's on his way home, we could always. He's picking up his son from school, so he may be a few minutes.
Oh,
There he is.
Tom?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan.
Hey, Tom, what's happening, buddy?
Hi, nice to see you.
Good. You ready to go? Talk a little Stanford?
Hold on a second. Let me
Yeah.
my Bluetooth thing on here.
Oh, there you go. Those things
For your home? Oh, that's pretty, oh, I guess maybe it's no cell.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm at home. This is my my cell number. So
Okay. That sounds good.
Well, let's hang on a second.
Yeah.
Must have switched that.
That's okay. Just had our old friend Hal Ramey on for a couple of segments there.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Okay. Let's hear how it sounds. Go ahead and say something, Tom.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's a little warbly.
A little warbly.
You want to try and should we do it on the? Do you have a landline, Tom? We can call.
Yeah, that's the number I gave you earlier. It's the 707.
Oh.
97.
Hold on, actually, I don't think I have that one. Okay,
Okay.
707
97.
297
6866.
6866. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call you right back on that number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes that happens. It gets kind of warbly. It
Yeah.
sounds. What bothers me is I hear some of these guests, big name guests on cell phones on national shows, and they cut in and out. It's just not. No, it's not good.
Coach was doing that down south.
Oh.
How's that?
That's a lot better.
Much better. Yeah, much better.
All right, so what we have here is just 13 and a half minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So let me start the file here.
Okay.
Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. When we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. How many Super Bowl rings does Steve Young have?
Well, I believe it's 3.
It is 3.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
good. 2 is a backup and 1 is a starter.
That's right.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Bruce, introduce our second guest here.
Yeah, a longtime college football writer and sports writer from the San Francisco Chronicle, Tom Fitzgerald, who has covered Stanford football now for many years. And, of course, Stanford has just been phenomenal, especially since Jim Harbaugh showed up and David Shaw has kept it going. And, Tom, this recent game they played with Notre Dame, I watched the second half. I don't know if Edward checked it out. You were there covering it. I don't think I've seen as good an advertisement for college football as that game with Notre Dame. I mean, the explosive plays and back and forth, and it was just everything you'd hope to see for in a game.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, went right down to the end, and Conrad Dupropina has a 45-yard field goal to win. But that was a fantastic game. It was really a great game played by both teams.
It's interesting too to watch Stanford because up until Jim Harbaugh showed up in the I guess it was prior to 2007, the program was really in tough shape, and he kind of turned things around, and then he leaves to go to the NFL, and you think, oh boy, David Shaw, we'll see if he can keep it up, but he's got Andrew Luck his final year, and he had some pretty good players, but David Shaw doesn't get a lot of the credit that he deserves.
Yeah, I would say so. He's a great recruiter, a very skillful strategian, and he certainly has kept the momentum going and kind of added his own wrinkle as things went along. And they certainly played the same kind of smash mouth football, but they also brought in a real element of big plays, explosive plays, and he brought more speed in, and that certainly shows.
And Tom, the Stanford looks like they're probably headed to the Rose Bowl. Who do you think they're going to play?
Well, at least they've got to get by USC here to do that, and I think it's going to be a very tough game, as was the earlier game that they had against USC. Then it'll be up to the winner of that Iowa-Michigan State game, and I'm not sure exactly which way that's going to go, to tell you the truth. There's always a possibility that Stanford could get into the college football playoff. It's not out of the question. Clemson would have to lose to North Carolina, or Alabama. Alabama would have to lose, but that's extremely unlikely. And then the college football playoff committee would have to leapfrog Stanford over Ohio State. So it's not impossible. They obviously have to get by a very good USC team first.
Stanford is such an interesting team, though, because the school, of course, is unique. It's one of the best schools in the country, and yet at the same time, even here in our Bay Area, it doesn't get a lot of attention. Nationally, you've got alumni scattered throughout the country, but unfortunately, a lot of the games start on television locally at 7:30. So much of the country doesn't see Stanford. Tell us a little bit about what the Stanford team is like to watch on a regular basis, because many people, especially those who live in the eastern and midwestern regions of the country, only see maybe a few highlights on ESPN.
Well, that's right. And I'd say you have to start with Christian McCaffrey, who's a sophomore tailback and kick returner, punt returner. They flank him out wide sometimes for passes. Leads the nation in all-purpose yards, 253 per game. He's a tremendous player. I call him Mac the Knife. Maybe I'm the only one who does. He slices through the opposition, but very quick. And the thing that's so extraordinary about this is his vision of the field. I think it's really something to watch. He is very patient with his blockers, and then when he decides to make his move, as David Shaw, the head coach, says, he goes from 0 to 60 in like nothing. So very, very quick and very skillful running back, great receiver, leading receiver. He's a big threat on kickoff returns. He hasn't done a whole lot on punt returns so far this year because the opposition has been very careful about giving him any kind of room to maneuver. But someday he'll break one on the punt return too, for sure.
And if that name sounds familiar, Christian McCaffrey, of course, the son of Ed McCaffrey, who was an outstanding wide receiver first with the 49ers and then with the Denver Broncos, won a couple of Super Bowl rings.
Yep.
So
that's right. And his mom is a former Stanford soccer player. Her name is Lisa. I can't remember. Her dad was at one point was an Olympic sprinter. So his uncle is
Good genes.
McCaffrey, who used to play basketball at Duke. They've got athletes all up and down his family. Aunts, uncles, all over the place. Wow. Basketball. But he's not the only star in this Stanford team. I guess Kevin Hogan, the fifth-year senior quarterback, has had a terrific year. Last year he was kind of up and down. He was going through a lot of personal stress. His father was dying of cancer, and that certainly affected him. And then he came out of that in the last 3 games of the year and did really well. And so now he's had a terrific year. He's very efficient. They don't pass nearly as much as a lot of other Pac-12 teams do. He's been very accurate. He's developed this downfield throwing game with receivers like Devin Kajus and Michael Rector. He's got a terrific tight end in Austin Hooper from De La Salle High School here in Concord. And he's got a terrific, there's another freshman threat in Bryce Love, who's probably the fastest of the bunch. And he's a real threat to go all the way anytime, too. So they've got a lot of weapons this year, and it's not just the smash mouth football game, the football approach that a lot of people probably used to watching Stanford over the years.
I'm going to ask a question that is just totally unrelated to all this, but it just got to thinking. A couple of years ago, we talked about this on the air, that like for the NCAA basketball tournament, some of the smaller schools almost don't want to get in because it costs them way too much. But that's probably because they have a lot of games to play if they keep winning, right? How does that work with football? I mean, there's only just the one bowl game. So I wonder, are there any smaller teams that almost don't want a bowl?
Well, I doubt that. The only qualifier would be the smaller bowl games. There's like 37 bowl games, right? So it may cost the team the money in terms of one of the lower bowl games if their fans don't show up in the numbers that they need. But in the case of Stanford now, they're going to go to either the college football playoff or the Rose Bowl, or if they lose to USC, then they would probably go to the Holiday Bowl in San Diego. So one way or the other, their fans are going to show up. They don't have to worry about bringing a profit at a high-profile bowl game like that.
Well, they have a large enough endowment too.
It is an interesting school, though. I mean, it's such a great school with a great tradition and so many wonderful players: Ernie Nevers, Pop Warner, Jim Plunkett. I mean, we can run down the list. And yet, at the same time, Tom, there's this. They're almost overlooked. I mean, the only team that may get less recognition in the Bay Area, and that's probably because they play a sport that's not universally popular, and that's the San Jose Sharks. And it's kind of strange because you have a game which we were talking about against Notre Dame the other day, which was of great national significance, and yet at the same time, you know, you're not getting the kind of interest. And it's funny because, I mean, people are missing out on some great entertainment here.
I think that's true. I think the Bay Area hasn't been known as a really college football hotbed. Certainly not in the sense that like Northern Oklahoma or
yeah, ever since Joe Cap left Cal.
Yeah, a lot of places in the Midwest. It's been a while since Cal was really successful, but they have great football here. And I guess the other thing here is that all the sports talk radio stations here in the Bay Area basically are wrapped up. 49ers and the Warriors, followed by the Raiders. You have to go down a ways to get to college football, so they tend not to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree with you entirely. When I worked in local radio and used to do these shows, I mean, I'd get one or two calls about Stanford, and it's too bad. You got David Shaw right now, who could probably write his own ticket in the NFL, but I get the feeling he wants to stay at Stanford for a while. What's the story on him? He's been there 4 years now. They've been in bowl games every year. Is he content to stay there and kind of be the big fish in the small pond, or is he looking for opportunities maybe on the pro level?
I think David Shaw is going to stay there. I may be wrong about this somewhere down the road, but I think he's going to stay there for quite a long time. I think he's a graduate. He loves Stanford. I think that the main thing is he realizes this is a unique situation. There's no other college program in the country that has aspirations as high as Stanford, academically and athletically. The great academic institutions in the United States are the Ivy League schools or Vanderbilt, Northwestern, places like that. Nobody has their sights set on a national championship in football except Stanford. And so he's been able to recruit kids from around the country. They've got from more than 30 states on this. And so he has an incredible recruiting budget. I'd love to know what it is, frankly. But they are a unique school in the U.S. And I think if he, for instance, went to the NFL, now he's in a situation that there's no uniqueness about it. There's no uniqueness about the 49ers or the Raiders or the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, they're just one of 32. And he only has to look at somebody like, Chip Kelly or something like that to see how you can go from being a very successful college coach to being a very criticized NFL coach in the span of a year or two. And does he want all that? Frankly, I doubt it. I'm quite content with his family loves it here. He's got young children. He can't beat the weather. They reward him very well. I don't know exactly what his contract is. I'm sure he's well rewarded. His assistants are well rewarded as well.
Ideal situation.
It is an ideal
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101. We have to cut to our last commercial break, and we're going to have to let you go. But thanks again for joining us.
Good talking to you, Tom. We'll catch up with you soon.
Anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Tom Fitzgerald, of course, writes for the San Francisco Chronicle and covers the Stanford Cardinal and has been for many, many years. Our paths have crossed many times.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, here's our final pigskin challenge.
Okay.
Which was the first team to use the 2-point conversion in the Super Bowl?
That's a good question.
All right.
Yeah.
Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. And we will be right back with our closing comments.
Okay. Right on the money.
Right on the money.
Right on the money, butter. So I got, I think Monty Poole from CSN, Warrior Guy, will probably be with us next week.
Oh, that's
Monty's
good.
very Yeah.
Hopefully they'll still be in.
Yeah, and Sean Dunstan said he would like to do it in the next couple of weeks too.
Was he with us once before?
I don't know if we had Sean on before. We may have had him on.
I have to look.
We've had
Shooty
Babbitt. We've had on.
Had Shooty.
And we have Ida Blue. We have had on. Yeah.
Yeah, he was good too. And then you got my email about the dates change. You know, the various.
Well, we've got all these Thursdays again, right?
Well, yeah, except that we're. I'm getting one shift over to
That's not a problem. I mean, I'm not doing any afternoons at KGO because they did away with afternoon sports. So anytime I have to do anything, it's always in the morning. So I'm always free in the afternoons. Not a problem.
Yeah.
2:30.
Take a look at that because one of them is like a Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Okay.
So it's mostly when I
shoot it to me again just to make sure, and because I
actually here it is. Okay. So
go ahead.
Okay. So we've got today we're doing. Okay. So next Thursday will be normal.
Okay.
At 2:30. Then Wednesday, December 16th at 2 p.m.
Okay. Next week?
No. Okay.
The week
next
after
week,
that. Okay.
So next week is normal.
And the week
after that will be a Wednesday, and it'll be at 2 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem.
And
Brent Jones also wants to do the show.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
And then also December 23rd is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we can do 2:30.
Yeah.
Then, did you have a problem doing the 31st, which is
No,
New Year's?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And would you want me to check back with you tomorrow on this?
Yeah, take a look at your emails because I sent it to
I mean, on the Meritage, so should I check back with tomorrow or next week?
I would check on Monday
Okay.
because I got to give them this week to actually send.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he did confirm that they were going to be going out, quote,
good.
the first week of December. So
Great.
I definitely, like I said, I've not forgotten.
Yeah.
All right. And let's do our last segment.
Okay.
Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. When we cut to the last commercial break, we asked this trivia question, a football challenge. Which was the first team to use the 2-point conversion in the Super Bowl?
You know, I remember the NFL didn't adopt the 2-point conversion right away when the AFL and NFL merged. The AFL used to have it. I'm thinking it might have been the Pittsburgh Steelers in the mid-'70s, but I'm not sure if the NFL.
No, it was later than that.
Later than that, okay, yeah.
It was in the 90s.
In the 90s? Denver?
No. It was. They've only been in the Super Bowl once.
Wow. Atlanta?
No.
Atlanta was in the 98.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, the Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers, yeah. They were down, so they just got destroyed by the 49ers. I mean, they made the score respectable late in the game, but the only time they were in the Super Bowl, they just had their lunch handed to them by Steve Young. Yeah, 5 touchdown passes, I think, in that game.
That's right, yeah.
And Ricky Waters scored 3 times, I think. Or they scored a touchdown, I think, on the 3rd play of the game.
Yeah.
And just it was a massacre. It was ugly, but if you were a Niner fan,
it was great.
Yeah, you weren't going to complain. And that was a team of hired guns. You know, Deion Sanders and Ricky Jackson and Richard Dent and I mean, my gosh, they brought in a lot of big names.
Dent kind of came in.
Yeah, he was effective for a while. They brought in some big name players. Ken Norton Jr., who is now now coaching with the Raiders as the defensive coordinator, was great player at Dallas. Came over to the 49ers and went from Dallas. It's kind of like the flip side of Charles Haley, who went from the Niners to the Cowboys.
Right.
Ken Norton came over to the 49ers from Dallas.
And they both had success.
They both won a bunch of rings.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's our thoughts for the day. Sylvester Stallone said, playing polo is like trying to play golf during an earthquake. That's actually pretty accurate.
I got to see that new movie he's in, by the way, Creed. I hear he's terrific.
I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, we should talk about that. Maybe we can get somebody on to talk about sports movies here. That'd be a good topic.
That'd be an excellent idea.
Yeah,
okay, and who is Kevin Keegan?
Kevin Keegan, I believe, is an actor.
Okay, because he said Maybe a manager, because as a manager, you always have a gun to your head. It's a question of whether there's a bullet in the barrel. Good question.
Oh boy.
All right, tune in next week for Sports Econ.
I was going to say, that's a grim way to look at life.
It is. Yeah, really. Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective, giving away more free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, your host. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right, one bite the dust.
Yes.
I've been doing this for 2 years now, huh?
It's in May of 2013. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. 2.5 years.
And